Hello and welcome to a slightly festive edition of the podcast this week. So the title of today's episode is going to be All I Want for Christmas is a Regulated Nervous System. And before I dive in, I just want to double check that you have listened to the last episode, so episode 2, in which I give a little bit of an overview of the nervous system and the different nervous system states. So if you haven't listened to that already, I think it's about 15 minutes long. Go back and have a listen to that before you listen to today, because it will help it all make a little bit more sense. So what do I mean when I say all I want for Christmas is a regulated nervous system? And what I mean by that is that we are in a state within our bodies, within our minds, within our entire system, where we basically don't get thrown off throughout this season. So lots and lots of things tend to happen in December, and it can take us into a dysregulated state. So I'll give some examples. So work can be very busy. There can be lots of pressure around present buying, lots of social events. If you've got kids, you've got nativity things and friend stuff to do. You've got the added complexity of seeing family. And I don't think it even matters if you come from a really healthy and functional family system. Getting together with family still can have its challenges and its stresses. Maybe there's travel that's going on. Maybe you've lost people, and so this time of year brings up a lot of emotion about the people that aren't here anymore. And then you've got the collective shit show that is the state of the world right now. And bringing all of that together, it can unsettle us. It can be too much for our nervous systems to deal with, and it can cause us to become dysregulated. And you will know that this is happening to you if you are experiencing a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, difficulty focusing. Maybe your sleep is off. Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed. Maybe you feel completely checked out. Maybe you've noticed that you are eating a lot more or drinking a lot more. And I don't just mean at the social events. It's almost like it's all too much and I need some coping strategies to get through. These are all indications that your nervous system is not regulated and is not in the right place to roll with what's in front of you. So we're going to dive into that today. We're going to look at maybe some things that you can do practically in order to help yourself out. And then also some way that you can do it's still practically, but like within yourself. So the first one is more like boundaries and actions that you'll take. And then the second is more about how you can support your nervous system so that you aren't just surviving the holidays, you can sort of thrive and enjoy it as well. So I want to look at a few different things that can cause us some challenges at this time of year. So the first one I'm going to call the overall theme presence. But within this, there is, I suppose, the time and the pressure to buy things, but also the demand on the resource of money. So one of the things that we require in our lives is sufficient resources to meet the demands that life throws at us. And if we don't have sufficient resources, then that's when we get into trouble. Now, there are lots of external resources, of which money is a really important one. Okay. And so if you already are feeling like your financial resources are not where you want them to be, and all of a sudden you are in this place where there is a lot more pressure put on your financial resources, which can happen at this time of year, present, travel, social events, it all adds up. It can really do a number on your nervous system, right? Because it becomes too much. It feels overwhelming. And it's like, how am I going to pay for all of this? And just from a really practical perspective, I just want to offer that it is available to you to not buy presents. It is available to you to not travel. It is available to you to not spend so much money, right? And you might say, yeah, but I want to, like there's stuff that I want to do. And that's fine, but let's do it in the context of how do I do these things in a way that allows me to stay healthy and regulated. So where's my sweet spot? If I spend £100 or $100 collectively on gift, how does that feel in my body? Okay, that feels okay. And if I nudge that up and I go to $500, £500, how does that feel? Okay, well, that feels too much because I haven't got that much available to me right now. And just creating that level of awareness of like, well, where is my sweet spot? What have I got capacity for right now in terms of expenditure without it sending me into a stress response, into that high sympathetic, panicky, anxious state? Because often you will spend a lot of money on your kids' presents because you want them to have a nice Christmas, but the knock-on of you extending yourself further than is comfortable is that then they experience you stressed and anxious, so they don't actually get the Christmas experience that they want, right? And I think that is just a really useful thing to bear in mind. You know, where can you cut back if the impact on your system of spending too much money is going to be detrimental to your overall health? And this is kind of going to be the theme of the podcast today. You know, what can you do to keep yourself healthy around this time of year? And what work might you need to do so that you can get yourself to a place where you say, I'm not doing presents this year. You know, you might decide you're going to buy some for the kids, but everybody else, I'm not doing it. Because often what that will create in our system is more dysregulation as well, because we have got all of this conditioning and there's all of these expectations and all of these rules about what we think we should be doing, right? And again, I just want to offer, we get to choose what we do. And where the regulation comes in and the nervous system comes in is, have you got the capacity to make a choice to do the thing that is best for you, even though other people around you might not like it? Like, is your system robust enough to deal with their disappointment, to deal with their comments, without it sending you into a freeze response or a shutdown? Because if your system feels like it's going to shut down and it can't handle that, then chances are you will overwhelm your system by spending the money so that you don't disappoint other people. And what I just want to share here, if it feels available for you to take this in, is in avoiding their discomfort or their upset or their disappointment, and you're doing that to protect yourself, you still potentially overwhelm your system because you're still overriding what you needed to do, which, just in the context of what we've talked about so far, is not spend the money. So I just want you to just have that awareness of like, if I disappoint myself, if I go against myself, if I go against my impulses and what I need, even if I'm doing it to try and protect myself because I don't want to disappoint other people, the knock-on is that I'm going to disappoint myself and I'm going to impact myself negatively from a nervous system and health point of view. And I just think it's really, really worthwhile us paying attention to that. Now, if there is strong people pleasing in your system, there's strong perfectionism, there's a strong desire to avoid conflict, it might not feel that available to you this year. And that's just something to notice. Like, what work can you then do so that you are in a place where you can just go with what feels good for you, regardless of how other people feel? So if we just look at some other instances of things that can come up, and I won't go into the same level of detail because the same is going to apply, but thinking about social events. You might be invited to lots of different social events. Your kids might be invited to lots of different social events. There might be a school nativity. You know, there might be lots and lots of different things. Do they want to go and see Santa in his grotto? Like all of the different demands on your time now. Time also being a really important resource that determines how your nervous system responds. Again, it's thinking about how much time do I have available, not like how much time can I make, but within the context of my window of tolerance, my capacity, what feels good for me, how much time is available for me to give to social events. And what time of day is best for me to give to social events? You know, do I work best in the evening, or do I know that come evening I need to relax, I need to wind down, I need to rest? In which case, do I say yes to more daytime events and limit the number of evening events that I do? If the kids have been invited to loads of different things, is there some events that maybe someone else can take them to and you return the favor at another event? Like, how do you manage the event around what you need and what your system has capacity for? Rather than blindly just saying yes to everything because you don't want to let anyone down, you don't want to disappoint anyone, and you don't want to miss out. Because again, the knock-on potentially is you disappoint and let yourself down, particularly if you end up overdoing it so much that you become ill over Christmas, which often happens, right? So that's time. The next thing that I want to touch upon is spending time with family and relatives. Okay. Now, it often doesn't matter how difficult or strained your relationship is with your family. There is often this expectation that goes unquestioned that you spend Christmas with them, right? And this can throw up some challenges. You know, most of our deep patterns, our triggers, our challenges come from when we were very, very little. And so putting yourself back in that dynamic, which may or may not be that healthy, can be very, very dysregulating for you. So again, the question is, first of all, do you want to be around your family at Christmas? And if the answer is no, can you pay attention to that? And I'm just going to pause there so you can think about that. And if the answer is yes, I do want to see my family, but also I know that I find the experience very, very stressful, what are the steps that you can take to manage that experience? So where can you rest more before you go? Eat better before you go? Like really set yourself up so that you're arriving with a full tank of capacity to use. And then throughout the experience, whether you're hosting or you're going there, what is it that you need throughout the day to keep yourself regulated? And just notice, pay attention. Okay, if I do this with them for this number of hours, I feel spaced out, I feel stressed, I feel anxious, I'm not sleeping. Okay, so what needs to be different? Do I need to take a nap in the day? Do I need to go for a walk on my own? Do I need to take myself upstairs and read? Do I need to excuse myself and go and have a bath? Do I need to go for a run? And just know, give yourself permission to do the things that you need to do in order to navigate the experience. It can be particularly challenging to spend time around family after you've done some work to be aware of some of your patterns, because their patterns become a load more obvious. And it's like, oh, oh, now I see where this comes from. And that can be challenging to be around. So again, just having a little bit of a plan in place of how am I going to navigate this experience and take care of myself in this environment. And that gets to change from day to day. Keep checking in. Where is my nervous system right now? Do I feel checked out? Do I feel anxious? Do I feel stressed? What can I do to bring myself into more of a relaxed, calm state? And then do that. And again, awareness is a great thing. So just notice where it feels unavailable, where it's like, oh, but it's dad, it's dad and I need to do this, or oh, it's granddad, or it's auntie, whoever. And we always do this. We always sit around and do this. We always have these big political conversations and they completely dysregulate me, but that's just how our family is. Noticing that and then choosing to do something different. And again, this is all about the capacity in the system. Have you got the capacity in your system to excuse yourself, to not get involved in the conversations, to not take part in the events? Or does something in your system freeze and stop you so that you literally feel that you can't do what you want to do? And again, it's just worth noticing, okay, there's some patterns here that I need to do some work on because I actually haven't got access to carry through my natural impulses. Something in my system is inhibiting it, and I don't want that. And that again is the choice you get to make. I want to work on this stuff that is stopping me doing this thing, taking care of myself, putting myself first, acknowledging my needs, knowing what my needs are. So the penultimate thing that I just want to touch upon is travel. Like, travel can be stressful. Traffic is often really, really bad. If you're flying places, airports, navigating all of that piece, again, it can be challenging. So just thinking in advance around, how do I make this as stress-free as possible? There's things that you can't control. There's an accident on the motorway. But, plan, when are you going to travel? What are you going to have in the car? What resources are you going to take? Where are you going to stop? How are you going to keep the kids entertained? How are you going to make sure that you are as comfortable as possible? What are you going to wear? Like, thinking through all of this stuff in advance so that you are resourced and taken care of. Again, really, really helpful. And the last thing, and this is a biggie, are the emotions that come up at this time of year. And there's just so many of them. Whether it's overwhelm, whether it's frustration, it's disappointment, you didn't get what you wanted, people let you down, people are stressed, people have a go at you, work's too busy, the kids get sick, you get sick, loved ones aren't here anymore, people that you wish loved you don't love you back. Like, all comes up at Christmas, not least because all of the films and everything else pushes at us how it's meant to be this magical, beautiful, amazing, special time of year. And for a lot of people, it isn't. It just isn't. And so again, if you notice you've got a lot of emotion, my suggestion is to give yourself some space to be with some of those emotions. So rather than like, well, no, it's Christmas and I just put my happy face on and I just, heave a positive it all. It's like, no, I'm going to give myself some space. I'm going to enjoy what I can enjoy, but I'm also going to give myself some space for grieving, for feeling the loss, for feeling the sadness, for feeling the voids. So many of us carry voids around with us of things that we didn't get, needs that were not met. And we don't need to dwell or wallow in them, but just giving an acknowledgement to those parts of us, the parts of us that are sad around Christmas, the parts of us that do feel a sense of loss, the parts of us that are really sad that things aren't different. And that you've got some emotions getting in the way, probably when you are knee-deep in chocolate or alcohol, or you notice that there's lots of distraction patterns coming in. You can't sit still, you're up, you're fidgety. What is your system trying to protect you from and what do you need so you can be with them. Because when we can be with our emotions, even for a short amount of time, we can move through them so much. You know, there is so much truth in the saying, what we resist persists. And so again, just thinking about how do you give yourself the environment where you can work through some of the stuff that comes up for you at this time of year, so that you have got more space and more capacity to enjoy the bits that you can enjoy. So I hope that that's given you some stuff to think about, and some tools, and I guess some steers to plan for you, like how are you going to navigate this period in a way that keeps you healthy and regulated. And if you want some more on this, I've got a couple of classes I just want to talk about briefly. I'll put the information in the show notes. So the first one is an intro to the body class. And this will take you through 5 different somatic, that's like body-based exercises that will help you to better regulate your nervous system, to bring your system down. So if you're in that kind of panic stress response, just to help regulate your system. They're super simple exercises. They don't take a load of time. You can do them with your kids. You could do them with your family. If you work in the personal development space, they're great to use with your clients. And it will just really help you to stay in your body and within that window of tolerance, no matter what comes up throughout this season. And then obviously you can use it throughout. So that's the intro to the body class. And the other thing that I do in there is I explain why we do the exercises, each one, what the benefits are, and I give some alternatives for if any of them don't feel accessible or available to you. So that's the first thing. You can get that in the show notes. And then the second one is more if you recognize that you're really already in a little bit of a state of overwhelm, you're feeling quite burnt out, like the year's just been a lot, it's been a little bit too much. So I also have a masterclass which will teach you all about and take you through overwhelm and burnout at a cellular level and a nervous system level. So I'm going to talk you through things like supplements that you can take to support your system, things that you can eat, and then a load of nervous system knowledge, information, and tools and tips to avoid, manage, prevent, and overcome burnout and overwhelm. So depending on where you are in that cycle, this class will meet you there and help you. And again, lots of explanation so that you can use this work with others as well. So both of those are in the show notes. If you do need a little bit of extra support over the holidays, and you get instant access to those when you buy them, you will immediately be emailed the class. So you do not need to wait for support over the holiday period. So I would like to end today's episode by wishing you a fantastic rest of the year, whatever it has in store. If it all feels a little bit too much at any point, just remember to come back to your body. It's an amazing resource. Maybe just pop a hand on your chest and just feel your heart beating. Take a couple of breaths. Feel your feet on the floor. And give your toes a little wiggle. And just notice how something as simple as a hand on your heart and feeling your feet on the floor can actually just help you to settle out. So as ever, I am here if you have any questions, if there's anything that you need. Excuse me, I'm a little cough. And if you have any particular questions or things that you would like me to cover on the podcast next year, please do get in touch. I would love to create some episodes that really give you what you need. All right, take care and happy holidays.